The Sceptre C305B-200UN is an affordable ultrawide gaming monitor, yet it features a rapid 200Hz refresh rate. In this video you will find everything you need to know about this display. So let's get started with the video. First, image quality. The Sceptre C305B monitor is based on a 29.5 VA vertical alignment panel with a static contrast ratio of 3000:1. A peak brightness of 250 nits, 8-bit color depth support, and approximately 90% sRGB color gamut. In comparison to IPS ultrawides, you don't get as vibrant or accurate colors. But you do get a higher contrast ratio which makes for deeper blacks, and a more vivid relation between the brightest and the darkest shades. The colors look good on the Sceptre C305B-200UN nonetheless, it's more than bright enough under normal viewing conditions. And it's a real treat when playing content in a dark room where you can really take advantage of the monitor's high contrast ratio. Further, the 2560x1080 screen resolution results in a high pixel density of 94.19 ppi pixels per inch. When displayed on the 29.5 viewable screen of the Sceptre C305B, which makes for plenty of screen space. And sharp text and details without any scaling necessary. Note that the monitor is as tall as a regular 23-inch 16:9 monitor, which may take some time getting used to as the monitor can appear too wide for its height. In comparison, a 34-inch ultrawide monitor is as tall as a 27-inch monitor and can therefore deliver a more immersive viewing experience. However, there are two things to consider when it comes to comparing the Sceptre C305B-200UN to similar 34-inch 35-inch ultrawides. First of all, a 34-inch ultrawide with a 2560x1080 resolution has a much lower pixel density, so details and text won't be as sharp and clear, but rather a bit pixelated. Alternatively, you could get a 34-inch 3440x1440 ultrawide monitor, but these displays don't only cost more, they're also a lot more demanding on your CPU, GPU, especially at higher frame rates. So, the Sceptre C305B-200UN offers the perfect balance between screen resolution and size, and it's a great budget option for those who cannot afford more expensive models and/or better PC rig. Moving on, performance. We were pleasantly surprised by the monitor's pixel response time performance. It was not a smear fest we were expecting from an inexpensive 200Hz VA panel. VA panels are known for inferior response time, especially when it comes to transitioning of dark pixels, which results in noticeable black smearing of fast-moving objects. Naturally, at 200 Hz, there's visible trailing behind fast-moving objects, which is more obvious when dark pixels are involved, but it's tolerable. You can also set the monitor to 144 Hz. At this refresh rate, there's less ghosting. So, depending on the game you're playing and your FPS frames per second rate, you'll be able to find the perfect settings. In undemanding and competitive games, you can take advantage of the full 200 Hz refresh rate, and if the trailing becomes too noticeable, you can dial it back to 144 Hz. The Sceptre C305B-200UN input lag amounts to just below 5 milliseconds, which makes for imperceptible delay even at 200 Hz. Naturally, for strictly competitive FPS gaming, a 240 Hz gaming monitor with a TN panel and much faster response time is preferred, and you can even get one at this price range. The Sceptre C305B-200UN is more suited for those who prefer immersion over sheer performance in competitive games. But it's also great for casual multiplayer gaming, watching movies, and even office-related work due to the extra horizontal screen space the 21:9 ratio provides. You can check a list of all games that support 21:9 here. For content that doesn't support 21:9, you will have to choose between having black bars at the sides, zooming, cropping, or stretching out the picture to fill the screen. Compatible content such as 21:9 movies provide a more cinematic viewing experience, whereas in video games, you'll get an extended field of view for more immersive gameplay. As it's the case with all LED backlit monitors, some backlight bleeding is expected, and while this varies between different units of the monitor, our Sceptre C305B unit had no excessive backlight bleed. Moving on to the features. Moving on, the Sceptre C305B-200UN display supports AMD FreeSync all the way up to 200 Hz with a 48 to 200 Hz variable refresh rate (VRR) range. As long as your FPS rate is within this range, the monitor will change its refresh rate dynamically, and thus eliminate all screen tearing and stuttering with minimal, approximately 1 millisecond, input lag penalty. FreeSync also works with compatible NVIDIA cards without any issues. In addition to the power button, there are 4 hotkeys beneath the bottom bezel at the right side of the monitor which you can use to navigate the OSD on-screen display menu. The menu itself isn't pretty, but it has all the tools you will need, including the standard brightness, contrast, and RGB settings as well as the advanced hue, saturation and gamma adjustments. Other useful features include pre-calibrated picture presets including FPS and RTS modes, picture-in-picture, picture-by-picture, blue light shift which filters out the harmful low blue lights, and response time overdrive on/off. Let's talk design and connectivity. The design of the monitor is decent considering its price. The stand is sturdy, but it's tilt only. You can, however, mount the screen on a third-party stand using the provided 75 by 75 mm VESA adapter. At the back of the monitor, there are 2 red LED strips which you can disable in the OSD menu. The monitor has a curvature of 1800R which is subtle but noticeable at 30 inches. Note that there's 1/4 of black border around the screen, so the image is not edge-to-edge which is standard for borderless monitors. Connectivity options include DisplayPort 1.2, HDMI 2.0, 2 HDMI 1.4 ports, a headphones jack, and 2 3W integrated speakers. The HDMI 2.0 ports, labeled as HDMI 1, supports 2560x1080 up to 165 Hz, while the HDMI 1.4 ports max out at 1920x1080 120 Hz or 2560x1440 75 Hz. It's time conclusion. All in all, the Sceptre C305B is an excellent gaming monitor for the price. It provides an immersive viewing experience as well as smooth performance for a very appealing price.